Hello, everybody. It's the pollinator, and it's a little bit past midnight. Um, Before I forget, because I keep forgetting about this, I've known about this for a couple of months now, actually, a few months. But in order for you to get notifications that I've uploaded a video, you need to hit the subscribe button, and then there's this little bell right to the right of it. You need to click that too in order for you to get notifications, however you get them, through your phone or through email. So in order for you to know when I've uploaded a video, that's what you need to do. The title of this video, and I'm gonna try to not make this one as long as I've been doing the last probably 6 months. And the reason why is because I don't make them every day. I don't make them on a weekly basis. And so I'll have a whole lot to say at, some other point in time, and then I talk for 45 minutes to an hour. So today I'm just going to try to talk about one topic, and then maybe a week or two later talk about another topic. So the title of this video is transition related, and it's called Research versus Reality. And both of them are pretty important when you go through transitioning. For those pre-T individuals out there, doing your research is really important. And if you're an ally of a transgender man or woman, or non-binaries, you need to research too, because what you see with your eyes is not going to help you understand what a transgender person is anywhere in the world. The research is going to help you with things that, especially if you are a family member of a transgender person, or a close friend, a lifelong friend, or whatnot. If you don't research, what's going to end up happening in your head is that all your memories, what you think your friend or your family member was, that's all that's going to come to your mind, and nothing is going to push you over the edge of being a true supporter and an ally of your transgender friend or your family member or your loved one or your partner or your husband or your wife or whatever. If you don't do your research and you just rely on your eyes, and maybe even perhaps what you hear, because let me tell you something about testosterone. Not everybody who takes testosterone will their voice drop. There are some trans men that it just doesn't happen, or their voice was so high before they started testosterone, it just doesn't drop to a level where they sound male. So you can't just rely on your sensory. You need to engage your brain in what we're going through and what we're doing and why we're doing it. So, and that goes for pre-T. I'm not going to talk about estrogen because I don't know what. I know from a sensory perception and from what I hear from trans women, what E does, what testosterone blockers that they need to take that. But physiologically, I don't know what it does to them. I do know what T does because I'm on it and I've gone through it. So, and I'll continue to go through it. So, let me tell you what you're going to find when you research, though. I was in San Antonio, Texas, when I became aware that I was a trans man. I was watching Dancing with the Stars, and I saw Chaz Bono with a whole lot of hair on his face, and I was like, what? I really didn't understand what was going on at the time, so I stayed transfixed to the television, watching him and praying like hell he didn't drop the lady that was training him. Uh, I was so afraid he's gonna drop her, but I was really fascinated by his story because he told a little bit of it before he started dancing, and I think he may have said some things before each of the shows that he performed in, which I think I don't remember now. That was 2012, and so I don't remember how many times he got to dance before he was voted off. But until he got voted off, I was transfixed to the television, and I started remembering things as a result of the story that he told. And I have since reached out to Chaz Bono and thanked him for waking me up, for evoking those, everything that I am. I had no idea transgender people even existed before 2012. I was completely in the dark. I thought, first of all, I never knew there were trans men. Second of all, because of shows, sensationalized shows like the Jerry Springer show, I thought, you remember when they used to have the boy girl shows on the Jerry Springer show, and a woman would come out and parade around, and then the audience would guess whether he was born a boy or a girl. And then he put up a sign, or she put up a sign, and everybody would, most of the time they got it wrong. And it was mostly trans women. But I didn't know they were trans women. You know what I thought they were? From my days in the Bay Area, I thought they were transvestites. I thought they were cross-dressers. I thought they were drag queens. They never said, not once on the Jerry Springer show did they say, this is a trans woman, or this is a trans man. I didn't even see any trans men on that show. No, it was all trans women. So I had no idea that world exists. I had no idea those people exist. I had no idea what I was. I had no idea, based on the stuff that I saw on TV or saw in the newspaper or saw in the media or whatever. Nothing gave me a hint that transgender men existed until I saw Chaz Bono. And he did. I got really excited because he did respond to me when I thanked him on Twitter, and he said, "You're welcome." So what happened right after that is I got on the internet and I looked up transgender men, transgender males, transgender anything really. And if I saw a picture of a man, I was reading it. So I came across this document. It was huge. It was called the Hudson's Guide to Female to Males. That document has a gazillion links in it. That website. And so I read and read and read. And from what I was researching and what they said in that document, which was nothing about you is going to change. You're just going to have these physical changes, and then there's these risks and whatnot, and then there's these surgeries. And all I kept seeing was physical aspects of transitioning. So I started looking at videos, and I started getting on websites looking at pictures of the results of some of the surgeries, which scared the shit out of me. Oh, okay, I didn't even go that far. I left San Antonio and I moved to the Atlanta Metro. And the minute I got here and got hooked up to the VA, I told them I wanted a therapist. And at the time, I thought I wanted that. Well, I did. I wanted a therapist because, I suffered from a very serious depression from 2001 until 2015. So that's 14 years. And so when I came here, I didn't want to drag everything that the situation and the feelings and the emotions and everything that I was in. I didn't want to drag that from that city to this city, or from that area of the country to this area of the country. I thought that that I needed therapy, and it had been a long time since I'd been in therapy. I believe in therapy. I've been seeing therapists since my mid-20s. When I got clean and sober, I've been seeing therapists on and off. I never saw them for very long. So anyway, so I got a therapist, and within the first month, I think, because I got to see her every week, I told her I thought I was like Chaz Bono. And she said, really? I've got clients that are transgender. I said, okay. And then I shut down. All I could get out was that I think I was like Chaz Bono. So it took a long time for me to want to talk about it with anybody. So that's when I started researching, and that's when I found the Hudson's Guide to FTM, and that's when I started looking at all the physical aspects of what testosterone does to people, does to trans men, and what the surgeries look like and whatnot. And I kept finding I kept finding the failures, the failed looking surgery results. So I wasn't too excited about that. But there was a lot of good information, and I did not look at any YouTube videos. I'm not sure why. I just wasn't led in that direction, and I had only made like 3 or 4 dance videos, maybe only 2 dance videos on YouTube up to that point in time in 2012, because I moved to the Atlanta Metro in 2012 after I saw Chaz Bono. So I'm researching, and I'm going to therapy, and not much was helping in therapy. A lot of people ask me, was I in therapy, or was I depressed because I'm transgender? And the answer was no. That did not depress me. A whole bunch of other stuff is why I fell into that depression. It had nothing whatsoever to do with my gender or my sexuality. I may talk about that in another video. But so what really struck out for me in the research that I did was that they kept saying, you're not going to change mentally or emotionally, I think, is what I read. I have to check that again. But it said basically didn't change you. And what scared me from starting testosterone was, number one, embracing that I am transgender, because when I looked around the world and saw how much people were at odds and hating transgender people, I didn't want to go there. I thought I could fight it off and deny it, which, that's kind of funny. I guess we have short memories or something, because I did the same thing about thinking I was a lesbian. I fought that off for years before I embraced it. And it wasn't until I moved to the Bay Area from my hometown in the Midwest, it wasn't until I moved there that I embraced it. And then I joined the military from Los Angeles, California, and who sent me back to the Bay Area. So I have short memory. I did not remember at the time that I had gone through that before, and that I tried to fight it before, and that I hated the word lesbian. I don't even really, hindsight is 20/20, and now that I look back, I didn't like it because that's not what I was. I just didn't understand what I was. So, but, I got involved with the community, and I did a lot of stuff, I did a lot of, protesting and rioting, and I went to the gay pride events in San Francisco every year for years. I rode with I rode my motorcycle. I had a motorcycle with the Dykes on Bikes in the parade every year, which was a blast. I mean, I had a blast, watching women ride around on their motorcycles without no shirt on, boobs flying everywhere and whatever. I had a great time, and we partied a lot. Then I got clean and sober, and so bring me back to this reality check, in that you cannot rely completely on research to know what testosterone is going to do to you. I was on a post today, yesterday now, Sunday, where a guy was asking whether or not this changes you, versus just the physical changes, which, are written about and talked about a lot. Truth of the matter is, yes, it does. This is a physiological change. And because because the medical industry got to ignore us for so long, when transgender activists made it so that we got to openly be on HRT, and that doctors supported it, and would prescribe it given certain circumstances. It used to be that you had to get a therapist and be talking to a therapist or a psychiatrist for a year before they gave you a letter that you then take to an endocrinology doctor who prescribes the testosterone. It used to be that way. The laws have relaxed. Well, not even laws. They're not even laws, but it has relaxed considerably. It does not take that in the United States. It doesn't take that. I don't know about Europe, and I definitely know it's virtually a no-go in Africa. I don't know about the Far East, and I don't know about the Middle East. But there's patches all over the world where hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, is prescribed openly without too much of a hassle, depending on where you live. If you're in a rural city or town, a small one, they can give you a hard time because you don't have a lot of options and a lot of doctors to go to, so they can play games with you. But when you're in a metropolitan area where you can go all over the place to get this stuff, your chances of finding a doctor who is pro-transgender is higher. But what they didn't do, and what they have not done yet, is do case studies on us. It's not keeping pace with the availability of HRT. They do not understand us. They do not know us. They do not know what we go through. And, when you only see your endocrinology doctor, if you even see one, some of these guys get testosterone for long stretches of time, 6 months or more, not having to see an endocrinology doctor, and not getting your blood work done, and not getting anything like that. So who in the medical industry are we talking to about what this stuff really does? Not many. I do participate in a study carried out by a university that comes here to conduct studies on transgender people. But the questions that they ask have nothing to do with what HRT is doing for you, what it's not doing for you, etc., etc. They don't know what this shit does for us. Oh, the question on Facebook was, did testosterone boost your confidence? That's what the question was. And I got in there and said, well, yeah, it did mine, but I came into it with a lot of confidence. I was depressed, yes, but I've been a pretty confident person most of my life. Even though I was shy, I still had a lot of confidence. Really doesn't have anything to do with whether you're shy or not, or talkative or not, or whatever. It's something else. What could I say confidence is? I'm overly confident in some areas, and in other areas of my life, I'm not confident. Dating is one of them. I don't have that down yet because I'm starting to change. I'm not changing who I'm attracted to. I'm always attracted to women, and I always will be. Some people argue that being on HRT changes your sexuality, which I don't even know. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. For me, no. It doesn't make me want to be with a man. I've always loved women, always, since I was little. Even though I was deep in the closet about it and secretly liking little girls and being on the down low when I played with them. I've always liked women. I've always liked girls. And so I've been on testosterone for over 2 years, and that has not changed. But what has changed is the type of woman that I'm willing to be with, which right now is just kind of up in the air. I've made videos where, I promise not to make this more than 30 minutes. I've been with, most of my life I dealt with lesbians. Right now, I'm not totally in love with them because of the issues they have with men. And almost always run into something when it comes to them. And then when I look at bisexual women, I'm not sure because, again, we're talking about sexuality. So I don't want to end up with a bisexual woman who misses a biological penis unless she's willing to help me get one. That shit's expensive, and I don't have insurance. So I don't want to end up in a situation where she has an itch to switch and ends up switching me out. And then on the flip side are cisgender heterosexual women who want a man with a biological penis. So I don't have a lot of confidence in that area, and I'm talking with my therapist about it. But anyway, back to the physiological changes. It does change my thoughts. It has changed my thoughts. It has changed what things I pay attention to. It has definitely changed my sex drive to the point where things I was not interested in very much before I got on testosterone, I got interested in, including to this day. It has changed how I look at women. It has changed how I think about a great many things as I move from being socialized all of my life as a woman and being socialized as a man and having male friends and, talking male stuff. That has also changed my thoughts. My tolerance level is not as long as it used to be. My fuse is not as long. I've always been spunky. I've always been hyper. I've always been fiery. I've always been, a balls to the wall type of man. And when I got on testosterone, it just pushed that further. I wish I could talk more about the thoughts that have changed. Well, a major one is the fact that I woke up to the fact that I'm a black man, which is completely moving around the world, moving around this country as a black man is way different than moving around this country as a black woman. The things that happen around you, like people being afraid because I'm a black man. They ain't afraid of white dudes, but the country is afraid of black men. And so that's new, that's different, and I've had to adjust my thinking accordingly because, there's things like, I don't want to be accused of being some kind of pervert if I look at children too long. And the only reason why I would is because I've always loved children. But the world can see that as being weird and odd. So, I'm very careful when I'm in public of what I'm looking at too long. paying attention to, because they're paying attention to me, where they weren't when they perceived me as a black woman. They weren't paying attention to what I was looking at. Women don't clutch their purses or try to walk fast when you're behind them or anything like that when you're a black woman. But as a black man, they do. And dealing with the police is different. There's just a lot of things that because I physically am a man, physically look like a man, I'm perceived as such, and my experiences are different. Therefore, my thoughts are also have to be different, and they are changing. What else? Well, okay, so I don't want to make this video too long, but just know that there's more to this than what you're going to read on the internet. Videos that you're going to see, if men care to be transparent about what their transition is like beyond the physical. Because there's just a lot that is going on inside beyond the physical. The physiology is the organic processes or function in an organism or in any of its parts. And see, hormones affect everything. Your brain, your body, your organs, affects everything. And so things might happen to you that you're not going to read out there. From your emotions to your thoughts to a lot of things are going to change, that because there are no case studies on us, that you're not going to know until you're going through it. And when you're going through it, you may not even realize you are changing. It may take your partners and your friends and your family to say, oh, this is different. And you may not even see it for a while as you're going through it. It's like, I don't know, the changes are so subtle sometimes. And other times they're not. You know, I can go from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds or 10 seconds, where it used to be, it'd take a lot longer for me to go from 0 to 100. But I go to that point differently than I did when my body was dominated by estrogen. Because now my body is dominated by testosterone. And I don't have much estrogen in my bloodstream anymore. I think the level is at 51 or something like that, while the testosterone level is over 600. And I still do get checked every 3 months. Actually, now I'm on a 6-month schedule. But it took my doctor a year and a half before he got me to the point I needed to be on testosterone, because he wanted to make very, very sure that this stuff wasn't hurting me physically because of my age. I mean, this is not the same as a 21-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old getting on testosterone. The reason why it's important for you to get your blood work is because they need to check out your liver, they need to check out your blood count, they need to check out whether or not being on testosterone is going to cause blood clots. Your blood pressure is going to go higher, your red blood cells increase, your blood becomes thicker when you're on testosterone. There's a lot of things that you need to know before you get on this stuff that you need to keep track of while, the first couple of years you're on testosterone. So my endo doctor increased my testosterone very slowly. And I cannot give myself a shot. I do not like needles at all. I started on patches, didn't want to touch the needles, didn't want to have anything to do with needles, but I got an allergic reaction to the patch and could no longer do the patches. And a lot of trans men do get an allergic reaction, I think, to the glue on the patches. So I think they're ruling patches out entirely around the world in lieu of shots. So I had to get on shots, and I go to the VA and have nurses do my shots every week. I didn't start out on testosterone every week. I started out every 2 weeks, Then I changed to a week and a half. And then I changed to a week. And all throughout that period of time, he was increasing the dose. And every time he increased the dose, I had to get blood work. So I was poked and poked so many times last year, it wasn't even funny. Because every time he increased it, he wanted me to get blood work as well as my blood work every 3 months. So sometimes I was doing that, several times in the same month. At any rate, the reality of the changes that happen to you is going to be different than what you research. It's going to be more than what you research. So just be aware of that when you're out there. And for those allies out there and those family members who really care about me and they really love me, please research this stuff, even if just a little bit. Heck, go look at the Hudson's Guide to FTM. There's lots of links in there. And there's nothing in there that's going to embarrass you or make you feel silly or anything like that. And nobody's going to know you're doing it anyway if you do it on your own. But if you want to have any kind of understanding of who I am or who I've always been all of my life. I know y'all saw a woman, but I'm not a woman. I never was a woman. I had the body of a woman, and I had to wear clothes like one because that's what everybody thought I was. Washington State, I think, just passed a law where when you're born, they're talking about labeling your gender X until you, the child, can decide what gender you are. Which, when do we become aware of our sexuality or our genitals? I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old? I don't know anymore, but I know I wasn't aware of mine until I was like 8. So, until that time, boy, would have saved me the headache of what I'm going through right now with my family if I wasn't dressed up like a girl, and that's not the only memories they have in their head, because they're having a heck of a time not misgendering me or dead naming me, because all the memories they have was of me as a girl, even though I hated that part of my history, my past. That's what they saw, but how I felt was male. Always. From the first moment I was aware of my genitals, I knew something was missing, and I knew something was wrong, and I did not want to be perceived as a girl. I didn't want to even be called a girl, and I had a birth name, my very first name, which I'm not telling anybody what it was, but I hated that name because it was so female. It was so female. My middle name was unisex. So even after I started Testosterone and I wanted to change my name, I kept that name for their convenience only. I wasn't attached to that name because it's unisex, and it gave people, it confused the hell out of people I was dealing with at the VA. As I began to grow a beard and whatnot, they were very confused when they called out that name and saw me get up. They'd look at the chart and they'd look at me, and they'd look at the chart and they'd look at me. And because I go to the VA a lot because of my age, that's why I changed my name again. I don't want to be referred to as girl, ma'am, she, woman. None of that. I have about this much tolerance for that anymore. I am talking with my therapist about that because it's really pissing me off. It's getting me to the point where I don't even want to deal with family because they're having a hard time, and I'm having a hard time, dealing with multiple people on this issue when I'm already at peace with it, and they're not. I don't know how to get them there. I really don't. And so it's either me being uncomfortable, feeling like somebody shocked me with a taser every time they misgender me or dead name me, or every time they make me aware that they're having a hard time. They don't want to talk about it. So how am I going to help them get to the other side? Instead, I end up having to correct them, and I don't really want to educate and explain to them, look, this is what was going on when I was young, and blah, 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 blah. They're not asking for that explanation. So I'm kind of caught in a very awkward space with regards to my family. Not all of them, just some of them. But so I promised this wouldn't get too long, so it's already 35 minutes, and I hope everybody had a great Sunday. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and I will make another video about another topic in a week or two.